Love for God and love for neighbors. These are not two different laws, but two aspects of one and the same law. The one without the other is empty, meaningless, and dangerous too. 25th October 2020, the 30th Sunday of the ordinary times of the liturgy. Last week, we heard about the encounter between Jesus and the disciples of Pharisees and Herodians regarding paying of the tax to Caesar. In today's passage, Pharisees themselves come to argue with Jesus. They did not have any regard for Jesus. They had only contempt for Jesus, that he was, after all, the son of a carpenter, that he did not know the scriptures nor the law of Moses. So, when they addressed him as the master, they are actually making fun of him. God, as we know, gave Moses only 10 commandments, but by the time of Jesus, within 1200 years, they had multiplied them into 613 commandments, of which 365 are prohibitions, don't do this, don't do that, and so on, and 248 are about the laws of commission, do this and do that. So the Pharisees now ask Jesus, which is the most important commandment? Now, whatever Jesus would say, they could find fault with him, because out of these 613 commandments, Jesus had to choose one. They want to see to which commandment Jesus gives priority, whether it's the law of Sabbath, or about fasting, or about almsgiving, or about getting divorced, or about whatever may be. Whatever Jesus says, they can exaggerate that and show that Jesus is not caring about other important laws. But Jesus, as usual, gives a very wise answer. They all knew about the primacy of love for God. They also knew about the love for neighbors, because both are given in the Old Testament. For instance, in the book of Deuteronomy 6:5, we find about love for God. And in the book of Leviticus 19:18, we find about the love for neighbor. Jesus makes a sort of revolution by bringing both of them to the same platform. They ask Jesus for the most important commandment, expecting only one commandment as the answer. But Jesus gives two, because for Jesus, these two are not two different commandments, but two aspects of the same commandment, as though two sides of the same coin. The one without the other is not useful and incomplete. Jesus says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." With your heart, soul, and mind, according to the Jewish understanding, heart is the place where our feelings reside, soul is the source of our thoughts, and mind is the ability to discern between good and bad. So Jesus says, we must love God with our feelings, thoughts, and discernment. Only love for God without love for neighbors will be empty and even dangerous. It is empty because without loving our neighbors whom we can see, how can we love God whom we cannot see? Further, only love for God without love for neighbors can be dangerous, because only love for God without love for humans can lead us to religious fanaticism, which can lead to division, hatred, terrorism, and violence. Without, similarly, only love for humans without love for God will be without proper basis and foundation. Because unless we have God as our common parent, father and mother, We cannot meaningfully address one another as our brothers and sisters. In that case, our love for neighbors will be a sort of bargaining love. You give me this, and I will give you that. But really, genuine love cannot be based on bargain. Rather, it is based on forgiveness, acceptance, understanding, sacrifice, and so on. Here, we are called to reflect upon what genuine love means. Love is very essential for our lives, an important psychological need. It is as essential as food and shelter and dress. We all need to love and to be loved. Sometimes we are sad that our loved ones fight with us or fight with our loved ones. But maybe in a way we should be happy because at least we have someone to fight with, whereas there are millions in the world who don't have anyone even to fight with. We have many relationships in our lives. All our relationships involve some way or the other some sort of love between husband and wife, parents and children, brothers and sisters, among friends, teachers and students, priests and people. At all these levels, there is some element of love, though the degree and the intensity may differ. Love in today's world, the most used word, but unfortunately the most misunderstood and abused word also. Love, maybe once it was a taboo, a sin, a bad word. In my school days, we used to complain to the teachers if anyone utters the word or speaks about love. Teacher, he says that I love you. But now it has become so common, the exposure and the circumstances are different that our youngsters live in. Everywhere we hear about love, 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 but we don't understand what that real, genuine love means. It's very sad to see that the society and the media has misunderstood, commercialized, misused, and even abused the concept of love. They have wrongly equated love with physical attraction and infatuation. Our cinema has exaggerated love. Normally, cinema has to exaggerate anything affection, sacrifice, violence, etc. They need to exaggerate to make money out of it. So they blow love out of proportion to make money out of it. Once a foreigner, after watching an Indian movie, made a comment. It's very expensive in India for a couple to love each other because they need acres of land and nice location garden for the couples to run around and sing a duet song. Our gullible youth today, with no wisdom or life experience, take that sort of cinematic life as their real life. In fact, cinema is nothing but a shadow on the screen. Very often, our youngsters have only a limited understanding of love. Once a teenager wrote a letter to her girlfriend, so called love letter, and there he describes, my dear darling, you are my life, you are my world. Without you, my world is empty. You are my heartbeat, you are my eyeballs, and I die without you, and so on. And at the end, he gives his signature, then he puts a note. In case you don't like me, don't tear this letter and waste it. Please pass it on this to your younger sister because I love her also. Today, because of the wrong notions of love, thousands and thousands of youngsters have spoiled their studies, their careers, and their whole lives. I mean, both boys and girls. Parents and elders caution you, my dear youngsters, about love, not because love is something bad, it is sacred and God's creation, and that's why they expect you to be more careful with the concept of love. Love is the most sublime, noble, and essential aspect of life. It has physical dimension too, but it is only one part of the story. It is like the pickle in the meal. The pickle cannot be the whole meal. It is certainly a gift from God. The physical attraction between the genders is essential for the holistic development of one's personality and for the growth of the society at large. Otherwise, given all the difficulties and challenges, who will be ever ready to marry in the society? Everything has its own time. As a teenager or a youngster, first you must equip yourself to survive in the society, intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, and so on. First, get settled in your life. Then you can think of your life partner. Today, cognitive sciences and neurosciences have discovered that our human brain develops over the years. They say the brain of the teenagers is largely controlled by a part called amygdala in the brain, which goes by impulses of likes and dislikes. The frontal lobe of the brain, which is responsible to assess any situation in terms of good and bad, but this frontal lobe develops only when one is 25 or 26 years of old. That is why it is advisable that we decide about our life partner around that age. Till the full growth of the brain, they need to listen to the advice of the parents, elders, and teachers. Create self confidence and convince others that you can stand on your own leg. Then look for your life partner. Now, my dear youngsters, do your duty first as a student, as a youth. Wait for the right time to think of love, courtship, marriage, and settle in life. You may have power, but you have to have prudence also. You may have a lot of knowledge, but you need wisdom also. And that wisdom comes through experience. And that is why it is advisable to listen to the parents and the elders, as they certainly have more experience than you have. It's very difficult to understand what genuine love is, precisely because God is love. As St. John says in his first letter, chapter 4, verses 7 to 10, love comes from God, and whoever loves comes also from God. We have understood what love is because God took the initiative to love us first, and above all, God is love. That's why perhaps one can say we cannot understand the real genuine love as long as we don't understand God. Because God is love, so love is also divine and holy. The genuine love necessarily involves readiness to sacrifice. That is why when God came into the world, he was ready to suffer and die on the cross. In our practical life, also, it is a love that enables a mother to sit up throughout the night to give medicine to the seriously sick child at regular intervals. It is a love that enables a mother to put up with her son who is unfortunately a drug addict. It is the love which enables a woman to tolerate her husband who is alcoholic, addicted for many years. Precisely because we are not prepared for this sort of genuine love, today families break and friendships suffer. Earlier, it was easy to get married, but it was difficult to get divorced. But today, it is difficult to get married, but easy to get divorced. Families get disintegrated very easily. So much so, as someone said, we live in an instant culture like instant coffee, instant tailor, instant photograph, instant passport, instant dosa mix, and so on. Love and marriages also have become instant. That's why it is said Monday, dating, Tuesday, engagement, Wednesday, wedding, Thursday, honeymoon, Friday, divorce, Saturday, rest, and Sunday, next. Today, what we need is a right understanding of love. Love that includes trust, commitment, and responsibility. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, we find St. Paul listing out several noble qualities of love, and we need to include all those qualities so that our love becomes genuine. We need to manifest that love towards God and towards one another. And this love for God and love for neighbors are the two sides of the same coin, because one without the other is empty, meaningless, and dangerous also. Let us think about it today.